Welcome to Legends of Bodybuilding. My name is Ben Well, and I am one of your hosts, and the other one is the monster, a legend himself, J.P.Fux. That way, no, that way.
I'd say.
Hey, nice to be here, guys.
Like always, we have a very special guest, and this guest is very special to me because it's a dream podcast I always wanted to do. I'm doing podcasts since a couple of years in Germany, and here he is. I'm very, very happy that he's here. Let me tell you something about him. He did his first competition at the age of 13. He won the Teenage Mr. Australia with 16 and 17, and at the age of 17, he came in 4th place at the World Championship. At the age of 18, 19, he won the men's Mr. Australia. They didn't want to give him his pro card yet. That came a little bit later at the Niagara Falls. He came in the top 6 at the Mr. Olympia. He won the San Francisco Pro, the Grand Prix Australia, the Ironman Pro, the NOC New York, the PDI Night of Champions, and the NABA Mr. Universe. But that's not all. He was always a racing car driver. In 2002, he started racing, drag racing. In 2004, he won already several races and titles, was Rookie of the Year 2005. In 2006, he won the SCEDA Racing Championships, and he holds the records for the most suspension of the IFBB. Yes. Here he is, yes. The man from down under, from Kangaroo Land, Lee Priest. Hey,
hey, how are you?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Lee. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, let me just say something quick. We know each other. You probably don't remember. In 2008, you were at the LA Fit Expo. It was in January or something. And I came up to you. I was wearing a blue shirt and I was promoting my show, the BNA International Classic. I don't know if you remember. And I shook your hand. And I never had a handshake like this before. Your hands were like rocks. You know, I'm like, holy fuck, this guy is so strong.
Wow. People always say that about my hand. I must have like a thick hand, because when I shake hands, I have like a little, looks like a hammer, I guess. See, so when people ever grab my hand, they're like, they look at me like, oh, you got a weird hand. I guess it's that muscle. See, it's that muscle in the hand. See, look.
Yeah, I was like impressed. Never had this like this before, and it was about my show, the BNA International Classics, where we gave out brand new cars for the 3 overall winners, or whatever.
Nice.
We talked about it a little bit, but you don't remember. All good. So, Jean-Pierre, you can start.
Okay. Hi, Lee. Nice to see you again.
How you been?
Doing great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we're going some way back. You know, I remember I was seeing you on my first pro show. You were standing on stage, probably already a veteran at that point in San Jose. But I'm very naive when it comes to Australia. I never made it over there. You know, I what I think of Australia is like chasing crocodiles and stuff like that. You started training I started training with like 10, 11. You must have started even earlier. How did you get to start this early in Australia?
I started about 12-ish, because my grandfather, he always was into fitness. You know, he'd always go walking, jump rope. He was always just into exercising, because he used to do a bit of wrestling in the army. So he had like a little gym set at home. So I started doing that. And then we had like a local YMCA, like a police boys club I went to, because I was still too young to join a normal gym. So I went to it's like a youth club where kids go there. They had a gym there. And then I just had the weights at home. And then I think it was around when I was 13, that's when Rocky IV come out. So I had to train just like Sylvester Stallone in my garage, doing all the chin-ups and push-ups and doing the abs off the bench where you lower yourself down. I'm thinking, it's funny, I was watching Rocky IV the other day, and that's when I know you're getting old, when you figure, fuck, this come out when I was 86. In my mind, I'm thinking 10 years ago, and it's like almost 30 years ago. I'm thinking time goes so quick, it's crazy.
Right. And you start competing right away. I mean, was it your desire from the very beginning? You're like, oh, I'm going to start training and I want to be on stage.
No, never. I never liked the competing. Like, as I got sponsors, you know, with the companies want you to compete, you know, for your sponsorships, you had to do so many shows. But I just loved the training. I loved going to contests and meeting the fans and seeing fellow competitors. But just the competition side itself, I hated, because to me it was like with Jean-Pierre and myself or Flex, you know, once you get to that level, everyone's so good. It's really, you know, yes, they have a judging criteria, but really it comes down to a matter of opinion on what the judges want on that day. Because sometimes you watch some of those pro shows, anyone in the top 10 at some of them, or the top 8 or top 6 could easily win. So I always just didn't like how, because, you know, Jean-Pierre or people with the big freaky bodybuilders and they're symmetrical bodybuilders. So it was almost like a preference on what the judges wanted, because, you know, Dorian was freaky, some like that, some like the Flex Wheeler. So to say this guy's the best, I always hated that, because to me, everyone was great. If you can get to that level and you get on the Olympia stage, to me, it's always just hard to pick one and say he's the best, because, yeah, he might be the best, but still he could be lacking calves, and this person has calves. So the competition side, I never really liked. And when I started, I never really got into it to compete. I just got into it because I wanted to look like the He-Man cartoon. So, you know, here comes my cat. My cat has to get on every podcast.
What's the name of the cat?
Kylo.
Okay. Yeah, but
if I don't let him in, he just bangs at the door. So
but okay, you won right away with 13, and then but you were competing, and by the age of 16, 17, you were already so freaking good. I mean, when you look at those pictures, I'm like, holy shit, how can you look like that? I don't know any bodybuilder, not even Arnold, who looked like that at that age. That was
And I always read the comments. People say steroids, but I never took steroids until I was 19. And there's some photos, you've probably seen them, where I'm standing. There's like, I'm in the bush, there's trees and sand. that's when I was 19 at the beginning of the year. Halfway through that year, I took some Deca and that, and I put on 20 pounds. So if you see a photo of me at 19 around January, then you see a photo of me at 19 around November, you see the big difference. And when I actually took some, when I did my first cycle. So I've always been lucky. Like in the photos, I look a lot bigger. People say at 17, you were big. I wasn't really big. I was only about 70, 72 kilos, but I think because I'm short with around the muscles on my frame, you have that illusion of looking a lot bigger than what you really are. So,
right. And with 17, you went to the World Championship. Was that in the Open Man or was it teenage? Or
yeah,
was
open, yeah.
In the Open with 17, and you
yeah,
came
actually,
in fourth place.
Yeah, when I was 17, I also went to America, to Arizona, and did the AAU Universe that Carlos Rodriguez used to run, and that's where I first met Milos. Milos was there competing, and I got second in the lightweight class at the Mr. Universe when I was 17 also. And that was the same year my mother and I, we did an exhibition at the Universe, because at 17, my mother, she was always overweight. And she's like, if I get in shape, will you compete with me? And me being a 17-year-old teenager, I'm like, yeah, if you get in shape, I'll do it, mum, sure, whatever. Next thing she gets in shape, I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to go on stage with my mum now. This is going to be embarrassing. So we went on stage, and we were the first mother and son in the world to compete together and win a title. So she was happy with that. And she competed for about another 2 years. And I always said she was the smart one, because she retired after that and I kept going. So she had more brains to stop.
But what did the people say? I mean, you were an absolutely sensation at 17. They were like, wow, this is the new Arnold, or what did he say? I mean,
I think people were just shocked because I developed so early and that. But to me, it was just me. And, you know, when I got to America and Ed Connors saw me and took photos and sent them to Joe, and Joe pretty much signed me straight away, because I was only originally going over there to do the amateur Niagara Falls show, and I was only going for 2 weeks. Right. And then when Jim Mannion saw me in that and found out I'd won my national title, he said, we should have a pro card. So they contacted Paul Graham in Australia, and I got my pro card when I was there and did the pro Niagara Falls. And then I got the contract with Weider. So like I said, I was only going for 2 weeks and ended up being there 19 years. So.
See, I don't understand. You were 19, you won the Mr. Australia again in the Open Man, and they denied you a pro card. I mean, you were so freaking good. Why?
Yeah, they kept saying I was too young. So,
but I remember Shane DeMora. Do you know Shane DeMora?
I remember him. Yeah, he was like 19, wasn't he?
He was 19. He won the nationals, and they gave him a pro card. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Remember,
So I remember when I went to see Weider the first time, the contract he offered me was so ridiculously low. There's no way I could even, survived in Switzerland, and I rejected the contract. So you took it. Was it the first? I mean, I remember my first offer was 24,000.
Yeah, that was mine.
I told him, I said, I can't pay. I told him I can't pay rent, in Switzerland with that.
Yeah.
So then you stayed and you started to live with Ed, or how did that start all in the United States?
Yeah, I stayed with Ed for a while. I stayed at the Marina Pacific Hotel when I first got there. Then I met a guy called Kurt Miller, who became my training partner, and we lived together. He came to Australia and stayed with me here a fair bit. So, I lived with Ed for a couple of months, and then, Ed would sort of get mad at me because Ed would bring in other bodybuilders, and he's like, Lee, talk to the bodybuilders, talk about drugs. I said, look, Ed, I don't like talking about drugs. To me, I don't care what somebody takes. I don't, what they're taking might not be what's going to work for me. So Ed didn't like that I wasn't so social with the other people. So I sort of moved out. But yeah, my first contract was $2,000 a month, and back then I'm like, because I was living with Kurt, we shared the rent, I could get by, and I made a bit of other money just doing a few appearances. Yeah, but it was only 24,000. I'm like, wow.
All right.
So,
but you had to kind of apply for a green card at that point, or
yeah,
how did that work?
I did. It took me 7 years to get it. Because at the first time I applied, it was like I was doing it through a marriage, but then I separated, so I went for the athlete of extraordinary ability, it's called. So I sent in all the paperwork, and I took forever. I got denied, and in the letter it said, unless you're in the league of Arnold Schwarzenegger, we cannot approve this. And of course Arnold went to World Gym. I saw Arnold and I said, look, I got denied this, blah, blah, blah. I said, can you write me a letter? And Arnold's like, yeah, you write the letter and I'll sign it. So I wrote this letter saying, Lee is one of the greatest ever. If Lee was competing in my day, he would have beat me and stuff like this. And when I handed it to Arnold, he read it. He's like, oh, and he signed it. But it took me 7 years, and it was so funny because while I was waiting, I'm thinking, well, fuck it. I'm not going to pay tax on my money if I'm not going to get a green card. So I didn't pay tax for 7 years. I got my green card, and then I got a bill for like $100,000 in back tax.
Let's go quick. Yeah, let's go quick and revisit one thing. I heard about a story about your grandpa. Sometimes when you didn't want to get out of bed, he came to your window and he was knocking on your window, no matter what the weather was. And I'd Lee, get your ass out here. We go into the gym or something.
He's just one of those guys. He's like, probably where I get my mentality from, because I'd go and do sets and just do reps and reps. Like, the most I did on a leg press of 500 pound was over 1,000 reps when Joe Gold was watching me. But he'd no matter what, he'd just jump on the rope for hours, do abs for hours. And we'd have days where it's like freezing cold, raining, the wind's blowing. And I wake up and I'm like, perfect. I can stay in bed. All I hear, he's outside. He's got a raincoat on the bike. I'm like, you fucking old bastard. I said, if he's doing it, I got to go do it. Because, even I think kids today are a lot softer. Back then, I think men were a lot harder and they got out and did the hard work. They didn't complain. Whereas now everyone's getting a bit soft. So
cool. Really cool. Okay.
When Ed was here recently, we had lunch.
Okay.
I asked that. Yeah, I asked that. So all those years, seen all those guys going in and out, and forget about stage and stuff. Who is the most talented, best bodybuilder you have ever seen? And he mentioned your name. And and I said, tell me why. I said, I swear to God, he said to me, he had no money for steroids or anything. He hardly took anything, and the guy looked absolutely unbelievable. So I'm not surprised. That's why you still look the way you look now, guy. There's no way you would look like that if you would have abused your body back then, guy.
Now, that's the thing, because even when I did seminars, I used to watch Tom Platz, and Tom Platz was always honest. So when I did seminars, I was always honest. If somebody said, Lee, what drugs do you take? What's the amount? I say, look, I take Cypionate. I don't go over 400. I tried 800 for a couple of weeks and I felt shit. If I was doing sus 250, I'd take 2 mils. And people was like, oh, you're lying. You're taking more than that. And I said, look, if I was taking 2,000 milligrams, I wouldn't give a shit. I just want you to know that I'm not using a lot and you can do it too. And I've had friends of mine who are taking, they go on the internet and they read, all pros take this. And I'm sure you've seen it. You look at some of these cycles that we're supposedly meant to be taking. We're like, what, who the fuck would take all this shit? So these amateurs think that us pros take these large amounts. And because I was doing a seminar in England once, and there were some young kids there taking anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 milligrams a test a week. So I'm thinking, here I am saying I'm taking 400. They're taking 2,000. They're thinking, their mind is, well, he's bigger than me. How can he only take 400? He's got to be taking more than me. But I'm like, it doesn't work that way. It comes down to genetics, how hard you train, your mindset, how much heart and soul you got, to push yourself through that pain zone. To me, drugs were the last thing. It was the training, the nutrition. The drugs were the last thing that I incorporated. But now, sadly, young kids now, before they even go to the gym, they want to get on drugs. I'm like, you don't know how far you could go naturally. Why don't you use your natural potential first before you even think about drugs? But like everything now, people want things straight away, overnight. Nobody wants to work hard for it. They want it, what's a quick way to do this? Yeah, I'm sure you get it. What's the fast way to build muscle? What's the fast way to lose fat? There is none. If it was, everyone would do it. There is no fast way.
Right. So what was actually your first pro show? Was it the Niagara Falls?
Niagara Falls, yeah.
Okay, and you were how old?
I think I would have 90. I think that was the beginning of the year. I think I was still 20. I hadn't turned 21.
Okay.
I just gone 21.
Right. And how was the feeling first time standing with the pros? Was it special?
It was actually weird. It was actually weird because I wasn't really focused on what I was doing because, coming from Australia, it's like anyone, we come from a different country. You grew up on the magazine, so you see all these guys in the magazines. Now, all of a sudden, here I am standing on stage. I'm like, oh, fuck, look, there's Jim Quinn. There's David Durf. I'm so busy looking at all the people I'm standing with. I'm not even thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just like, oh, look, there's such and such over there. Because I was almost like the magazines come to life. So I was just happy to be on stage with all these guys that I've seen in the magazines.
Right. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, I went in way more arrogant than you.
Yeah.
I remember my first pro show. I was in total shock that everybody's so small.
Yeah.
Swear to God. Yeah,
Well, you were
course
one of the big freaks back in the day. There weren't too many around. There's just like you and Dorian and NASA and that. There weren't too many, big freaks around.
Of course, I didn't quite understand, and there is way more to it to win. Yeah.
And
so then the second pro show,
I think Dave was just talking about not long ago too. We're talking about different things, and they always bring up your photo shoot with Chris Lund doing the squats.
Well, that was way later, and I had it coming. I was so not focused anymore. I talked about it before.
That's the thing with Chris Lund. People don't understand when they always say, "Oh, you're using fake weights." I'm like, I wish Chris Lund would make you go super heavy a week or two before the show, and I'll be like, with what it's like. You go heavy, you're covered in oil, and you'd be pressing even a dumbbell. Hold it there, bring it down an inch, hold it here. I'm thinking, I'm just going to do the exercise. You photograph it, because even squatting, go down an inch, hold it a bit more, hold it there. It's like just to stop and hold a weight is so hard, especially when you're that depleted. I'm thinking, Chris, do you realize how hard this is to do this sort of shit when you're a week out from a show?
Yeah, it's brutal, right?
But now they got the fake weights, and then
I do remember my second show.
Yeah.
Sorry, you come in a little bit late. That's why I'm constantly talking over you. You come in late, so yeah.
That's okay.
So then my second show, you were right next to me. I think we placed right next to each other. It's probably the only time I could really beat you. It's like after that, you pretty much beat me every time.
And he's probably thinking, who's this short little fucker
I think
beside me?
You were sixth, I was fifth, something like that. Andy was seventh.
Yeah. He's like, I beat that little short ass prick there.
So, well, it was a bit impressive, guy. I got to tell you. But that year, were you not invited to the Arnold's Classic? Why did you not go to the Arnold's Classic the week before?
I think there was one year I didn't compete. I was there, but the reason I didn't compete was I died it down because I did the Ironman and that. But I also was the same time I did one of my articles in Muscular Development where I was talking about the politics in the sport and that. And it just so happened the day before at the Arnold Classic, there was a reporter from the Columbus Dispatch newspaper was sitting behind the judges, and they had that magazine, and they were talking about, when Lee competes tomorrow, we'll get him and we'll screw him over. So she come to me at the expo and she goes, Lee, why these judges got it in for you? I said, what do you mean? She goes, I was just at the women's judging and they're talking about getting you tomorrow because of this article you did. I said, really? I said, well, fuck it, I'm not going to compete tomorrow. So come Saturday, I was at the expo and the guy comes back. He goes, Wayne D'Amelia says you're going to get backstage right now. I said, you go tell Wayne I'm not fucking coming. So he comes back, he goes, Wayne said, if you don't get backstage, you're going to get fined. So the lady just so happened to be there from the newspaper. I said, I've been told if I don't go compete, I'm going to get fined. I said, will you give a sworn affidavit that you heard the judges say they're going to screw me if I compete? She goes, yeah, I'll give a sworn affidavit and sign it. So I said to the guy, you go tell Wayne D'Amelia, this woman's going to give a sworn affidavit that the judges said they're going to screw me. So he comes back, he goes, Wayne said, don't worry about it. You don't have to come and compete. And I actually made more money selling photos and T-shirts than I did competing. So.
I believe you.
So that was around the time when you beat Ronnie Coleman all the time, and he was really pissed about it. He said it all the time. Oh, this little shit, he beats me. I don't understand it. What's going on? How was your relationship with Ronnie at the time?
Yeah, I get on pretty good with him. I wasn't really close to many of them. Like I'd always talk to him backstage and that, but I pretty much kept to myself because sometimes I'd be joking backstage and people would get mad because I wasn't taking it serious. I'm like, look, I take my training serious, the diet serious. Once you're at the contest, it's like, just go out and have fun. And I remember I used to be sometimes in the room with NASA and, NASA, when the people ask NASA questions doing interviews, if you asked him a stupid question, he'll just start abusing the reporter. So he was always funny. He's like, you asked me this stupid question. Of course I eat a lot of food. Go away. Go ask somebody else the question. So NASA was always funny. But yeah, I just, Yeah, just like I said, when I go to contests, I just went to have fun. And when beating Ronnie, it's like you said about Ed. I remember Ed did an interview with Dave Palumbo, and I think, people go, "Oh, you never won the Olympia." Like, look, I knew I'd never win the Olympia. I'm a realist. I just did what I could do. If I got in the top 6 at the Olympia or top 10, to me, that was a win, being a shorter guy and not as big as some of the others. But I remember Ed Connors saying that, the freakiest guy he saw in golds was me. And then Jay Cutler said it once in interviews that the freakiest bodybuilder he saw was me. And then Ronnie saying that. I'm thinking, well, to me, that's better than winning any title. Having guys who are at the top in the sport who have seen everything say that I was one of the freakiest they've seen. So I was always happy with that.
Yeah, that's true. I heard Jay saying that for real. Yes, absolutely. That's true.
So I remember 97. That's when I thought this could kind of be my year, Dorian's last show.
Yeah.
I never seen you training at Gold.
I was at World Gym then.
There, you went to Worlds. Why was that?
Because I still would go to Golds occasionally, but the only thing I didn't like about Golds was I was starting to get a lot of those, ego people in there, walking around, look at me type things. So at World Gym, it was just Joe Gold, Arnold was there, Lou Ferrigno, Eddie Giuliani, like all the guys from the old days, and there was no music. It was just about training and stuff like that. So I just preferred over there. Of course, like I said, I was raised by my grandfather, and, Joe Gold was almost like another grandfather to me. So I just liked being at World Gym there, just hanging out with them and sitting in the office telling stories about the old days and stuff like that and putting shit on Arnold and stuff. So I just preferred the World Gym atmosphere. So.
But then the 97 Olympia, I mean, you shocked me backstage there. I mean, that was that your absolute best?
Some people say it was. Some people said I should have been higher because that was the year I got 5th, remember, and Paul Dillette got 4th and Kevin got 6th. But then when the show was over, they moved Kevin from 6th to 4th. They moved me from 5th to 6th, and Dillette went from 4th to 5th. They changed the placings after the show. So when we got to the Queen Mary for the banquet, we found out that places had been changed, and Paul lost 20 grand in the changing of the places. And I remember he had Wayne DeMille up against the wall by the throat, trying to see what happened. Yeah, but I think that's probably Dorian looked good, but I think even when you look at the photos there, I think NASA could have almost won that one, or should have won it. 97.
Yeah, in the prejudging, Nasser was pretty close, but I think he did something to his shoulders between prejudging and finale. He was way more watery in the finale. But I remember I say to. I was not very good in judging, backstage who's really good and who is not, compared when I saw the footage later. And I say to Nasser, because, Dorian was way bigger than in 96, but he was like a bloated mess. So I say to Nasser, I said, he's pretty big, he's pretty good. And he screamed at me. Nasser was not happy. He's like, it's a fucking like bloated asshole. He looks like shit, guy. But I think he could have been third there. If everything goes perfect, he could have been third there. So that was absolutely fantastic. But I remember then we went to the European tour, and you beat my ass freaking every night. I mean,
I think I got three or 4 thirds on the tour. I got like 3rd place in Spain and Budapest, and then I got a couple of 4ths. But then Russia. I didn't want to do the Russian one. I said to Wayne, look, Wayne, I don't even feel good. Don't call me out. I barely put any tan on. And the last call out, he called me out with those 2 Russians. And I looked shit. He put me in between these 2 Russian guys. I'm like, oh, thanks, Wayne. But because I think it was when we got to Helsinki, Paul Dillette and I and Vince Taylor, we found this Chinese shop and we're like, oh, fuck it. We've been dieting long enough. So we just started eating Chinese. And then we had some like Burger King at England. And I remember Milos was getting pissed off because we were eating all this shit food and still beating him. And Milos was taking more diuretics to try and beat us. And he still could have. But that wasn't a bad tour. That, and it was funny because when we were in Budapest, I remember Dillette and I were sitting at the table and Nasser was over there. And for a joke, we had the waiter take Nasser some chocolate cake. Oh my God, he almost killed the waiter. He just stood up and he's like, why did you bring me this cake? How dare you bring me chocolate cake? Who did this? And Paul starts laughing and Nasser looks over. He goes, you two, this isn't funny. This is a contest. Why would you send me chocolate cake? It's like Nasser just lost it. It's funny.
Cool.
Well, I couldn't stop eating. I couldn't stop eating at that tour. You know, I placed fifth. The shows you placed third. But I just couldn't stop eaing. I don't know what the hell. And then after the fourth show, I knew for me it's time to make up some injury and get out of this, you know. So I did join.
Well, I remember going on those shitty airplanes. Was it Aeroflot, whatever that airline was, that like it was going to crash every time it took off.
So they give you some cheap airline, I guess.
Yes. With Wayne DeMille in the IFBB, I think it was the cheapest airline, buses, hotels. I think was it going to one of them from Spain or one of them? We were like at the airport for 7 hours. There's like a 7-hour delay in that, and Wayne's like, "Lee, can you find Kevin?" I'm like, "I don't know where Kevin is." I go down to the toilets. Kevin's in the toilets. People are looking at him, and he's starting to tan up at the toilets in the airport, because by the time we got to Spain, we're there like so late. We had to go straight on stage, and then from the stage back to the hotel, and they're only there for 3 hours, and it was get up and get on another plane. And people are like, "Oh, you're so lucky you get to travel the world." I said, "Yeah, but you don't fucking see anything. All you see is the airport, the hotel, and the place you're competing at."
Right. Super stressful for sure.
Yeah.
Between the 98 and 2002 Olympia, you ranked all between 6 and 8. And in 2003, was that the year when you had long hair and you looked like shit when you came in 15th?
Yes. That's funny. I didn't want to compete that year. It's like I started getting ready for it, but if you're not 100%, you can't get ready for a show. So one week I'd be on my diet. I'm going to do it. Next week, fuck it. I just went and ate McDonald's. So I put a post online. Could have been getbig.com at the time. I said, "Look, to all my fans, I just don't have it in me. I don't have it. I'm just not the right mindset to do the show, but I'll beat the expo. So come by the booth. I still want to meet you or take photos." "Oh, did I get abused? How dare you not compete? We're buying tickets to come see you." I'm like, "Oh, fucking hell. Okay, I'll do the show." So I did the show, and then online, "How dare you go on stage looking like that? That's an embarrassment." I said, "It's like I can't win. It's like I told you I didn't want to do the show, so I did it for them, and then they abused me for looking like shit." I'm like, "Oh."
Right. Yeah, you can't get out of the contract. It was really complicated, right? It's not like you say, "Yeah, you know what, I'm not going to do it." Then
well, I got suspended the first time when they first put on the Houston Pro show. I think it's like my second year of being a pro, so I was only like 22, and I would have been like one of the youngest to ever do the Mr. Olympia. So I qualified for the Olympia. I did the Ironman, the Arnold, and the San Jose, and then I think it was like a month or two later having the Houston Pro, which I signed on for. But because I qualified for Olympia, I went and saw Joe Weider and said, "Look, Joe, can I sit out the Houston Pro just so I can focus on the Olympia, being my first Olympia, being young?" He said yes. I didn't go to the Houston Pro show. I get a call from Wayne. "Why didn't you go to the show? You're suspended." I said, "But Joe Weider said I didn't have to go." And Wayne's like, "I run these shows, not fucking Joe Weider. You're suspended." So I got suspended and couldn't do the Olympia.
Yeah, not great. But in 2004, you had great comebacks. You placed second at the Ironman and San Francisco Pro, I think, right away. So you came back for redemption, you could say.
Yeah, it's like anything. Once my mind's set to something, I'll go 100%. But it's like when I got to the car racing, same as bodybuilding. If I enjoyed and have fun doing it, and then I always seem to excel at it because I'm enjoying it. It's not like, if you're in a job you don't like, you're like, "Oh, I got to go to work or I got to do this." If you sort of have that attitude, you don't really enjoy it. You're not going to have fun or be your best. So because I just love doing it and having my mind in that spot where everything was good, I always did well if I really enjoyed it and had fun. But the moment it become like, "Oh, I don't want to do this," or I start doubting, that's when I just like, forget it.
Right.
And then you won 3 shows. Congratulations to that. I mean, that's pretty big. You know how hard it was to win shows back then?
Oh, yeah. Especially like the San Francisco, because it was so funny with the San Francisco show. I'm always early to the athletes meeting. And again, I had an article in one of the magazines. I'm in the room with Kathy LaFrancois, who I was married to at the time. And Wayne DeMille comes in, he throws the magazine down. He goes, "What's this?" I said, "Oh, that article." He goes, "Yeah, why are you talking about the judging and judges sleeping with competitors?" I said, "What they do?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, if you know they're doing it, they shouldn't be judging." He goes, "Well, you shouldn't put it in the magazine." I said, "Well, it's an interview. They asked me questions." So we had this big argument. Suddenly other people are walking in. I'm like, "Oh, well." I said to Kathy, "I'm fucked tomorrow. I'm not going to place well." after that argument, and I ended up winning the show. And he come over to me, he goes, "Are you surprised you won?" I said, "Well, Wayne, to be truthful, after that argument, I didn't think I was going to place." He goes, "Lee," he goes, "I'll tell you one thing." He goes, "I respect you." He goes, "In that article, you asked, why does the IFBB do this, or why do I do it?" He goes, "I'll tell you why. Because I'll say do this. Those other 99 guys would do it. You will say no, and I'll suspend you, and that will scare the other guys." So I gave him respect for being honest about it. But yeah, when I won that show, people were like, "Lee, what did you weigh?" I'm like, "What's it look
199.
like?" Yeah, but people are like, "You weigh 235." I'm like, "No, it's only 199. And I think Chris was second and Dexter was third. And I said to Chris, "What did you weigh?" Chris is like, "I'm 260. I went, "Oh shit, you got beat by a guy under 200. He's like, "Fuck you. What are you fucking?"
No, I remember. You look absolutely freaking amazing. And you said I was only 199 pounds.
Yeah.
I remember. I read everything about that show. And you look freaking amazing. You look much bigger than 199 for sure. Yeah.
That's the thing I try and tell people. On stage, it's such an illusion. If you can get that, sometimes you might even sacrifice a little bit of muscle, but if you can come in full with like striations and the definition under the proper stage lighting, it's just an illusion. You look so much bigger, It's like so many guys. I remember seeing Labrada on stage back in the day. He'd stand beside those guys. He held his own, but he'd walk past you in the audience enclosure like, was that the same guy that was on stage? Or I'm sure we've all been to shows where you see a bantamweight, a lightweight on stage. You're like, man, he looks great. Even look at Sean Clarita. You see him on stage, you're like, wow.
Right.
You see him in clothes. Even myself, when I was dressed sometimes, Chris would say, because I'd go backstage and wear loose clothes and just baggy clothes, I'd pump up with them on. Chris would go, "Oh, Lee doesn't look like much." But when Lee takes his shirt off, it's like, where the shit did that come from? So I always like to be under the radar.
Cool. Really cool. All right. What happened in 2006 with the Ironman?
That's when I won the Ironman, but then that's when Wayne was bringing out the PDI as well.
Right.
And it was just like, because he was going to judge, he was going to go back to judging more symmetrical and that. I'm like, well, there's 2 PDI shows before the Olympia. I'm going to be in shape. I'll do them. And because the IFBB heard I was doing them and I signed the contract to do them, they're like, "Lee, if you do these shows, you're going to be suspended." I'm like, wait a minute. I said, "You don't pay me." I said, "I pay $275 a year for a pro card. It says I'm an independent contractor." Now, if the IFBB was paying me a monthly wage, I understand. But I said, if there's a contest on where I can go compete and make money, why can't I do it? "Well, you can't because you're IFBB." I said, "So what?" I said, "I can make extra money." They said, "You're breaking the rules." I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "You've got guys in the IFBB who have sold drugs. They're convicted felons. You've got some that have done gay porn." I said, if some kid was to look up this bodybuilder, "Hey, mum, look at this guy. Oh, look, there's gay porn." If they look up Lee Priest, what's Lee Priest doing? Competing. And that's the worst thing, is it? So they said, "Well, if you don't do the second show in England, you'll only get half a thing." I said, "No, look," I said, "I signed on. They've sold tickets. I'm going to do it." I said, "If you're going to suspend me, suspend me." So they gave me 1 year suspension. But because I argued saying, "Well, why don't you suspend these guys? These guys have broken the rules." Because I argued the point, they said, "Now it's 2 years." I said, "Oh, I didn't give a fuck. Make it 2 years." And then why those 2 years I was suspended, John Romano and I used to do that shotgun show when I was sponsored by VPX. And we just talked about the politics in the sport, good and bad. We just answered people's questions. And then I was meant to go, I think it was like Switzerland or somewhere. I was meant to go do a seminar and that, and then had all my ticket ready to go. And then the promoter calls me up, "Lee, I can't have you come. The IFBB said if I bring you here, I'm going to lose the sanction of the show because you're being suspended for life." So that's how I found out I got suspended for life. So.
Holy shit. Yeah, it's really bad. Really, really bad. Wow.
So I didn't know it's for
an
life,
achievement
but
in itself. I figured, people have won the Olympia and I've been suspended for life. So that's an achievement. Ronnie Coleman's never done that.
So how many suspension did you have? I mean,
I think about five or six. I remember I didn't want to pay a fine, but I wanted to compete in this show. And I think it might have been one of the Olympias. The Olympia was in September, but my suspension was till October. So to do the Olympia, I had to pay the $5,000 fine just to do the Olympia. I ended up paying in total about $17,000 in fines over the years. So,
wow, all right.
But you competed all the way up to 2012, and I saw in the NABA 2012 were you amateur universe? How
yeah, I did the NABA universe in 2013 because I took 7 years off. From 06 to then, I didn't compete, and the people from NABA had said, "Look, Lee, we're going to restart the NABA Pro, so we want you to do the NABA Amateur and then see how it goes. And if you win the overall, we'll kick off the pro side again," which they did. So probably getting ready for that show was one of the. When I first started getting ready for it, I was putting so much pressure on myself because I'm thinking, "Oh, here we go." I was a top IFBB. Now I'm going to NABA. I said, no matter how good I look, if I don't win this show, I'm not going to go on the internet because everyone's just going to be talking shit. Look at you, washed up. You can't win a show. So luckily I won it. But so I was happy with that. And then 2015, I was going to do another show, the Worlds. But then that's when a woman crashed into me in the car and fucked my neck up and stuff like that. So that pretty much stopped me from competing.
I was always wondering. I'm like, what is it? Was it a one-off? Now I know. Okay,
because it crushed the nerves. I got a bit of muscle atrophy on the right side of my chest and tricep because that C7 nerve it crushed is what controls that. Now some of it's slowly coming back. You know, if it had fully come back, I might have contemplated doing the Masters Olympia and stuff if they let me back in to do it. So I never say never. Because like this side of me looks good. I could probably do half bodybuilding and half physique or half bodybuilding and half women's on this side, bikini. With this day and age, you can be trans. I can be the first trans bodybuilder and do the bikini.
You're good, yes.
Yeah. Will look good on you for sure.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk a little bit about
how this is whole I Go ahead, Ben.
What's that?
Are you sure? Okay. Yeah. I want to talk about a little about your racing history. I mean, you started in 2002 or whenever it was. How did you get into it? I mean, did somebody?
I used to just go to a local track, just like to watch the Saturday night races at Irwindale Speedway in California. And I met a guy there called Greg Smith, and would go there, and he was doing like road racing, where it's like a timed event through the canyons outside of Vegas. So I sort of got involved with him and did that. And I actually navigated for him. You know, like we sit in the car, I'm the navigator. I'm telling him where the turns are, what time we're meant to be at the turn, and won 2 races doing that. And then I navigated a couple of times for my mate John Schneider in the General E. John Schneider was Bo Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard, or he played the father in Smallville, the Superman TV show. So I was good friends with him. So I navigated for him a few times in the General E. And then I just met Dan Holtz. He used to run the NASCAR Elite and race in that. So he had a few trucks and cars. I drove his around, got into that racing. And then Rod Fuller, he raced Top Fuel Dragsters, and he was a fan of mine. So I just started going to the track, watching him, drove his cars a few times, and then went and got my license, and then just fell into place that way. I just enjoyed it. Won my first grad race. And then just went from there. One of the guys who ran the drag racing school had some cars. So I used to go and race his car that was sponsored by Lucas Oil. And like I said, my first year, I got Rookie of the Year and finished 3rd in the championship. So I figured, well, if I'll try to do more races to follow. Because like anything, the more races you do, you get more points. The more points you get, you win the championship. So the following year, with the competing and dieting, I'd be taking my food to the track because I was doing races at the same time. I was getting ready for the Ironman and stuff like that, and ended up winning the championship in 06. So,
yeah, you did at the same time when you were racing. You did the bodybuilding competitions too.
I seen you did some movies. Are you still doing? Are you still doing that?
No, I'm doing TV shows. I did like a special. Well, I get stereotyped a bit, you know. Rescue Special Ops. I played a drug dealer in the gym. There's a movie called Dumb Criminals. I play one of the bikers in that. And there's a TV show called Fat Pizza. I'm in 2 seasons of that, where I play the white supremacist, white power guy who's in charge of the white supremacy gang. And it was funny, when I was filming that TV show, we're in Sydney, big multicultural area in Sydney, and some of my friends who come to film it with me are proper bikers. They're covered in tattoos. Why I wasn't filming, we just said, let's go get a coffee. They don't need us right now. So we go to the coffee shop, and everyone's staring at me. I'm like, why are they looking at me? Must be a tattoo on my face. My mates are with me. We're all covered in tattoos. But I forgot. I was still wearing my T-shirt with white power on it and stuff. So we go walking into the coffee shop full of multicultural. You know, there's Lebanese people and that. Here we come covered in tattoos wearing white power T-shirt. They thought the KKK just... No one said a word. They're just looking at us like, oh, shit, don't say anything. So, yeah, I just finished another TV show now called Local Council. Comes on TV here. It's called 7 Mate, the station, like the number 7 MATE. You might be able to find it online, but October 26th, that starts. It's just about local councils. It's just a show where we make fun of the council. I play a parking officer, so I just go around giving people tickets for parking illegally and stuff like that. So a lot of swearing. It'll be one of those shows that offends a lot of people because we have to go to meetings in the council because one of the guys on the council wants to be a woman one day, then the next day he wants to be a cat. So he wears a cat suit to work. So it's going to be one of those comedy shows where it's sure to offend. And well, the first thing I ever did, though, was when I did the body work for the first Hulk movie, I went up to Universal Studios and auditioned. They called me back. They flew me up to George Lucas's studio, and the first Hulk movie with Eric Bana, the Australian actor, I did like a lot of the movements, like where the Hulk was swinging the tank around, I was swinging a sandbag on a piece of rope. When he's fighting the Hulk dogs, I'm just throwing sandbags around. And because Ang Lee, the producer guy, the director, he had one of those suits on that has all the little motion capture on for he moves. So they had the movement there, but they wanted to see, because I was in contest shape, when I did stuff, they could see the muscles moving and the veins moving. So they got the way the muscles work. So I did all the movements and they downloaded that to the computer and built the Hulk frame from that. And then I did the same 2 years later for the video game. So that was fun.
Wow. Great. But with the drag racing, did you never pass out from the G-force? I mean, you have to really get used to it, right?
Yeah, it's like 5 Gs when you take off. And I always laugh because, you know, these new cars that come out now, this car can go 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. Or this car, it's like in a dragster, you go 0 to 100 in 0.8 of a second. It's like 5 Gs when you take off. And the worst ones are the negative Gs when you pull the parachute. It's like,
wow.
So you're doing like, you know, over 300 miles an hour in the quarter mile, which is about 500 kilometers or so.
Wow. Amazing.
That's why when they get out, sometimes they're like, why are these drivers out of breath when they get out the car to do an interview? They're like, because, you know, that 5 times your body weight crushing down on you.
Right. Yeah. Amazing. Absolutely. Great.
So I was always thinking, you know, if everything goes down to shit here, I'm moving to Australia. But what I see during COVID, this is probably not a good move. What the fuck is going on over there?
Oh, our government down here went overboard. It's like, you can't go here if you don't have the vaccine. You can't do this. It's like, well, in Australia, we had that mass shooting, 20, 30 years ago, and they had that amnesty, so everyone handed their guns in. So it's like, oh, we'll hand our guns in, but, you know, we still have shootings, but it's the criminals still have the guns. The good people don't have the guns. So law enforcement, the army, and the bad people have guns. So if they want to take over, we're screwed. We'll have to make bow and arrows and shit like that. So it's like, you know, apart from that, Australia, that's just the thing, because when I lived in America was becoming very woke and PC. You can't say this, you can't have a joke. These people get offended. I'm like, man, I can't wait to move back home to Australia. In Australia, no one gives a fuck if you're black, you're white, if you're gay, you're straight. It's like, who cares? If you're a nice person, you're a nice person. Right. I get home and I'm like, holy shit, we're becoming like America. This is fucking bullshit. And it's like, it's just crazy. It's like, it's just the way the world goes now. Sometimes I watch the news or TV shows, I'm thinking, Jesus, if there's a meteor out there, come and hit us, because we need to be fucking wiped out.
Yeah, it was really extreme COVID in Australia. I have a friend, he told me all about it. Everything was locked down really, really bad. The gyms were locked down for a long time.
Yeah, you couldn't even go, like, you had like distance. Like if I live here and you had different areas. You weren't allowed to drive more than like 3 miles. If you went like 5 miles and the police caught you, you'd get arrested and stuff like that type of thing. My friend, he had to go to court, but he got off on it because his mother was in hospital dying, and they had like the COVID lockdown. So he left his house and went to the hospital to see his dying mum, and he got arrested and he had to go to court. But luckily, when he went to court, the judge threw it out, because I'm thinking, his mum's in hospital dying. Of course he's going to go see his mum. It's like, how fucking stupid is this? It's just like, to me, it was like a big test. I always figure in all the countries around the world, it was like a test to see how far they could push people, to see what people would take. It's like, let's just see how far we can get people to do. And I said to people, if that was a test, I said, we all failed, because none of us stood up to the government. We just did what they said. And now look, what people were saying back then, and they're like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. All that shit is now true. You know, the vaccines really don't work. I know people, I've had friends that have had 5 shots and they still get COVID as bad as anything. I got friends that had no vaccine and they've never had COVID. So it's like, to me, it's just like,
I'm one of them.
And then to me, it's also too, you can't, whether it is or not, but I don't know. It's like, we never heard about young kids like the last couple of years, whether it be soccer, anything. I've never heard so many young, healthy kids having heart problems and dropping dead. That never happened before this special shot come around, did it? So you never heard of that at all. I remember one couple of months in Europe, there was like 20 soccer players who died in 1 year in their 20s from heart conditions. I'm like, you never heard of that before. It's like,
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Here in California, it's kind of, they're talking about it again, you know. So I see people walking on in masks, walking their dogs, and you know, I'm wondering next year when it comes to election time, you know, they're gonna bring that whole fucking shit back.
I've heard that they're talking about it again now. To maybe I've seen Donald Trump bring it up, saying they're going to try do it again with the elections and the mask mandates and crack down on it and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna hope to get back to California. I think next March, I'm going to try come over for 2 weeks, just hang out in Venice and that. October next month, I got to go to New Jersey, doing a big seminar, superstar seminar at a gym in New Jersey. So I'll be there a week. Then I come home, and then November I'm going to Italy. They got NABBA's putting on a Lee Priest contest in Italy, so I'll be there for a few days, and then I'm going to go visit my sponsor in Spain for a week or two. So that's the thing. Is like, I don't know about you, but as I get older, like I love, like when I get to America, it's great. But as I get older now, just the thought of packing a bag, going to the airport and living in Australia. Look, I love living here, but to go anywhere from Australia is just so fucking far. It takes like a day or two to get there. So I'm like, oh, I'm too old for this. I just want to stay home.
Right. I hear you.
I feel like the second I leave the house, it goes downhill from there, you know. So I just love to stay home. And I know, you know, like your friend Sean, you know, he tries to constantly do some kind of stuff with me, and let's do this seminar here and this and that. It's just not me. It's not how I live. You know, go around and collect $1,000 here and there. I just like to stay home, and it gets worse as I get older. But you have your own show.
It's going to be a Lee Priest show in Italy. Yeah, that's on, I think it's November 26th.
So we're in Italy. That's at the time when I'm back in southern Switzerland. We're in Italy.
I'm not actually sure. I did put a post on my thing, but I can't understand the language. So I want to think. I'm either saying Florence or Venice. It's one of those two.
I check it out.
Somewhere there.
Somewhere in Italy, for sure. Hey, Lee, I heard on some other podcast you were talking about some really freaking crazy sex stories. I mean, enlighten us at least with one. Give us your best one. Give us your best shot. What do you got?
I had so many. I think people used to like that one where I was talking about the first times I tried cocaine, because I never drank my whole life, never smoked, never done anything. I had a girlfriend, I would have been around 42, and that introduced me to cocaine. And that's the one time I was bored at home. I had cocaine and I'm watching porn. So I'm just sitting on the lounge room floor watching porn, doing more cocaine. Now I'm yelling at the TV, you fucking dirty horse. Like, I think she could hear me, of course, but, you know. And then I'm like, hold on, I'm getting horny. So I started playing with it. But then if you take too much cocaine, you go, like that. And I'm thinking,
Right.
But it still feels good. So I'm thinking, how can I make it hard? So I took my shoelace off my shoe. I tied it around the end of my coffee, and I tied the other end of the coffee table. So I stretched it. You know, where you see those barbers sharpening their thing on a leather strap. That's how I'm stroking it, tied to the coffee table like that. I'm yelling at the TV. I got the cocaine there. Now my cat's watching me, and I'm looking at my cat. I'm thinking, don't you fucking judge me, cat. So then all of a sudden I bust out laughing. I'm thinking, I'm sitting on the floor, got no pants on, my dick's tied to the coffee table. I'm doing cocaine. My cat's looking at me. I figured, then it hit me. I said, say if I fucking die, and this is how my mother finds me, I'm going to be tied to the coffee table. I figured my mum's going to walk in and go, what the fuck? I've done a lot of silly stuff in my day. I seem to do more stupid stuff as I get older. As you get older, you should be fucking getting smarter, but I think I do more crazy. I think because from the age of 13 to up until 42, all I did was eat, sleep, and train. I didn't do anything out there. I've left it too late in life. I'm thinking I shouldn't be fucking around this late in life. I'm getting old. I should be calming down.
Cool. Really, really good.
I know, but I just.
So how many times have you married? You were married to Katie?
On my fifth. On my fifth one.
Wow.
Holy shit.
I love punishment.
Holy fuck. 5 times married. That's a lot.
It's all a learning experience, I call it. That's all a learning experience.
Yeah.
Well, I actually got married.
You get better
I remember I got engaged when I was 18, living in Australia. Before I moved to America, I was engaged. Because never, because even when I was with a girl, I'd always get in arguments because they always say, oh, you travel around, you get hit on a lot. But, and I hand on my heart, when I used to do seminars or travel, I never got hit on because I was there to do the guest posing or seminar. Then the promoter would say, hey, Lee, do you want to go out to a strip club? Do you want to go there? I said, no, I just want to go back to my hotel room. I'll just go back to the hotel room, get room service and watch the latest movies that were on the TV. I never liked going to nightclubs. I was never into that. That was never my scene. I said, I'm always a homebody, and Ed Connors would get mad at me sometimes because he's like, Lee, you could be making so much money doing an appearance every weekend. I said, yeah, but Ed, yes, as long as I got money to pay the bills, I got a roof over my head, I was comfortable. Yes, I could make more money, but in making more money, I'd be too stressed out traveling every weekend, going here, going there. So to me, that sort of quality of life where you're stressed out, okay, you're making more money, but am I happy? No. So I'd rather make less money and not do that to myself. So Ed would get mad. You should be making more money. So promoters would call me. Promoter will call me up. I'd be like, hello, are you busy? Such and such. I'd be like, wait a second, I'll have a look. Yeah, I'm busy that weekend. I can't make it. And I'll just sit at home and watch the Daytona race on TV or something. So
cool. I remember Kathy. I saw her a couple of times too, and then she had beautiful blue eyes. Yeah, for sure. And you guys were training together sometimes. I saw you at Worlds. I remember. Yeah. And but she always seems to me, she was a little cuckoo. I don't know. When I talked to her, she was weird. As if she's in her own world, if she's not here.
Well, maybe it could have been when you met her too. She didn't really speak. When I first met her, she didn't barely speak any English at all because she was French Canadian. She only spoke French. So when we first met, we could barely understand each other. Anything that we said was just like drawing diagrams and trying to explain stuff like charades.
You're like, Cassie, let's go.
Exactly. It's like,
well,
but sometimes it's just like, guess what she's saying, or if someone's talking to her, she didn't want to tell them. She couldn't understand sometimes, so she'd just sit there and she'd just agree with what they're saying. She could be saying yes when she should be saying no. So it's like.
Now that makes sense. That makes sense. Now it makes sense.
Well, many years after you, I asked her out once. So she had absolutely zero interest in me. I can tell you that.
She's like, "You're too big. You're too big. Yeah. You're gonna crush me."
Yeah.
Yeah. There's only.
She's not gonna go from this fun guy to Vanilla Smith.
For a bodybuilding girl, she's probably pretty level-headed to a few that I've met, because I've met some bodybuilding girls when they get on the hormones and stuff, and they're they're out there. It's like, and then don't forget when you go down on them, you almost poke your eye out on the clitoris because it's so big. It's like, oh, Jesus, what the hell is that? I'm scared she's going to bend me over. Oh, holy fuck, what's that?
But you were together with another woman. She was always like a fitness figure.
Adela. Yeah, I was with Adela,
Adela, exactly, yeah.
Crazy, nice girl, but crazy Puerto Rican. Oh.
But she is an absolute legend. She won Olympia titles.
Yeah, I think she won the Olympia 6 times and the Arnold Classic, I think 5 or 6 as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
But she was funny because we'd get in arguments, but would be at an expo somewhere and someone would come up to her and go, "Oh, can you take a picture of Lee and I?" She goes, "You don't know who I am. I'm such and such." So she would hate it. Because sometimes people who follow bodybuilding aren't really into the fitness, and sometimes it should be at an expo somewhere, and I'd say to her, because they wear the smallest clothing, the boobies are sticking out and stuff. I say, why don't you cover up a bit? I say, look, I'm not trying to tell you what to wear, but the only reason I say it is because I'd be standing back there. There'd be some guys, and they're like, "Who's that girl?" I don't know. Go get a picture of her. Look at her boobs and that. So to me, I'd get upset because I knew the hard work she did. She's 6 times fitness Olympia. So I said, you should be respected for that, not just guys wanting a picture because your tits are sticking out. You should get a photo because I'm having a photo with 6 times fitness champion. They're just thinking you're a girl with your titties hanging out. So I just hated that some people didn't have the respect for some of the girls in the industry just because they either didn't follow it or know who they were. So
So hey, you had a big ego, huh?
I seen your with your kiddies there.
Yeah.
I read somewhere you had a fox.
I got 5 cats. I had 6 cats. I got 2 dogs, 2 American staffies who tore my shoulder when I walked them a couple of months ago. Had them both on one arm, and 2 of them are like 230 pounds combined. This guy let his dog off the leash, so my dogs went really quick like that. I went snap. I went, oh fucking hell! It's like now I'm getting injured walking the fucking dogs.
You didn't have a pet fox, huh?
No. I have where my mum is. There's foxes. I feed the foxes there, so that might be where you heard about that. The foxes come down at night, and I feed them lots of food. They wait outside the fence and gate.
So you live a little bit outside of town or in a village?
Where my mum lives, she lives in a town, but out where her back fence is, it's just a big open hill with trees and that. There's kangaroos and that. So started feeding 2 foxes, and then 2 foxes turned into 4 foxes, and then 6 foxes. And now my mum's like, Lee, you got to buy more chicken necks and bags of chicken because there's more foxes coming. It's like, I think, bloody hell, now I'm spending all this money feeding the foxes.
All right.
Yeah, I used to have foxes around the house, and they used to circle my cats, but they never attacked one.
Yeah.
They're not that much bigger than a cat, and they never, ever.
You ever watch those videos of them online where it sounds like they're laughing? They sound like they're laughing, and that the foxes have that funny laugh. Yeah, they're nice animals and stuff. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I like all animals though. I used to volunteer at the animal shelters and stuff, and when I sold all my bodybuilding trophies, I just auctioned them off. I gave, Sean Ray's like, Lee's finding it hard. He's got to sell his trophies. I'm like, I just gave the money to the animal shelters for food and medication for all the stray animals and stuff so they don't get put down. And the good thing was, because, when I move all the time from America to here, all my bodybuilding trophies are in boxes. I never had them out on the shelves because I don't like looking at it. Like here I have, the Hall of Fame from NABBA and the Night of Champions plaque. This one up here is where Bush made me honorary Texan, President Bush. I got a letter from the Queen because I wrote to Queen Elizabeth. But, all stuff like that. I got Rookie of the Year, but all my bodybuilding stuff, I didn't need it. And then the good thing was, though, the people that brought my trophies were like young kids that have a home gym or a normal gym, and they'd send me photos saying that, your trophy here motivates us to train. So I said, well, that's the best place for it. It's better than sitting in a box in my laundry. If my trophy is motivating younger kids to train, then, that's good.
I heard you took the plates off of the trophies and put it on the wall or something.
Yeah. On a lot of them, where it said like the contest name. I haven't put them on a plaque yet, but I pulled them all off. So I was going to get like a nice wooden shield made, and then just have all the little nameplates of the different contests put on that.
Okay, cool.
If I can find what I did with the bag of them, who knows what that is.
I don't have any of my trophies from the amateur times mostly. I have no idea. So, but 4 years ago, I went back to Switzerland and stayed with a friend overnight. And his little boy, 7, 8 years old, kind of came crying to the living room. And he's like, "Are you here to pick up your trophy?" I said, "What are you talking about?" So he walks in with my Mr. Universe trophy. The guy used to own a gym, so I had no idea. I said, "Don't worry, keep the trophy, guy."
When I was with Black Skull, my sponsor.
So he's now 17, 18, and he's 17, 18 and about to be drafted into the NHL, in a year or so.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm happy that the trophy helped him some. Yeah.
He's going where the real money is.
Right.
Yep, that's for sure.
Right.
So real money, what's coming next from you? I mean, we heard the bodybuilding show, but you have other stuff going on, huh?
Yeah, just do, like I said, I'll be doing that seminar. And then I do a few podcasts. I still do the RX podcast with Dave and Jimmy the Bull. We have that funny show now called Confessions. I do tomorrow where I put on my priest top and people send in confessions and we just forgive them or we just make fun of whatever they've done. So surprised we haven't been kicked off YouTube yet. So I've just been doing that. And like I'm sponsored by Mental Monkey and that's my friend. I helped him start the company years ago and he wanted to sponsor me then, but I said, look, it's just a new company, get on your feet. So after a while I was with him for a couple of years, but then that's when COVID come around and he was still paying me. I said, look, Aaron, you're a good friend of mine. If it was anybody else, if it was just a company, I wouldn't care, but because you're a friend, I don't want to take your money because I can't do anything. I can't travel or anything like that. So I went with Dave with Species for a year. Then when that was up, I've gone back to Aaron now, and Aaron's based out of England, but he lives in Spain. So he has like the clothing, the supplements. He has like a vodka range, and he's opened up a nightclub and coffee shop and that. So I'll be going over there.
All right.
And he's just joined the Hells Angels. What could go wrong? I say, what could go wrong?
Nothing from that point on.
If I go to Spain and you don't hear from me again,
You ride a motorcycle, Lee? You have a motorcycle?
When I was younger, I did, but then with the bodybuilding and, I like them, but to me, it's just like, people in cars now, no one pays attention anymore. They're in their own little world or you're not meant to, but they're on their phone. And I've seen so many accidents happen, not the motorbike's fault, just cars. And I'm thinking it's too easy to get injured and get killed, even if someone just doesn't pay attention. Because if you're on a motorbike, you've got to ride for yourself, but also you got to be of your surroundings. But I've just seen so many people in cars who just don't care. It's just like they pull out on motorbikes and stuff like that. So no, I try to avoid them as much as I like them. I just no.
Yeah, I love them, and I know what you're talking about. I always watch everybody and expect always the unexpected. Then you're usually good.
But it's like people say to me, because I race cars, they're like, "Oh, Lee, do you race your car around the streets?" I'm like, "Why would I do that?" I said, "Look, I can handle a car fine." I said, "But it's the other people on the road. Look, I can drive the car fast down the road. I can do this, but you don't know if the car in front's going to hit their brakes. You don't know if the car he's going to pull out on you." So I said, there's too many variables to act like an idiot on the road. If you're just going to be on the road, you got to remember, cars are a deadly weapon. If you use it the wrong way, you're not paying attention. It's so easy to do damage to anyone. So you just got to, and I think too, when I did the car racing, it taught me a lot more respect for cars, the speed, what cars can do. And I think, being on a racetrack where you see all that, when you drive normally on the road, you just don't have that urge to act like an idiot. So,
yeah, right. And I heard you spent Christmas with your best friend. Is that true?
Which one was that?
Sean Ray?
Christmas. When did I last? I haven't seen. Actually, Sean's been quiet lately. I was asking Dave the other day. I haven't even seen many videos of him online or anything. I was a bit worried about him. I'm like, where's Sean been lately? Because normally he puts up a video about me doing something or he mentions something. I remember I was challenging him to a celebrity boxing match. He's like, Lee's only doing this to get publicity from me. I'm thinking, oh, Sean, shut up. It's like,
sure.
I don't even know how the whole hate thing started. I'd never hated Sean at all, but he just started talking about me. And then people send me a thing. Did you see what Sean said about you? I'm like, no, because I don't go looking what people say. So people send it to me. Sean said this. So I just do a funny reply that he'll get mad and reply back. So it was never, I was never serious about it. But I think he used to get serious sometimes and get all upset and carry on. I remember one time he did a thing, Lee's homeless, living in the streets, drug addict. I'm like, what? So I did a funny video showing a couple of garbage bins saying, this is where I live, in this garbage bin. And this is my shopping cart. I had like a red and blue shopping cart. I said, these are my 2 vehicles that I use to get around and collect aluminium cans in them. I just play along with whatever he says now. I'm just like, oh, whatever.
Right.
But I haven't seen much of Sean lately, so he's been pretty quiet.
Well, if I'm in Switzerland, I make it down to, if it's not further down in Florence, I'm coming down to your show if I'm in Switzerland. So why not?
Okay,
It'll be a fun thing to do.
I'll find out exactly where it is and I'll send you the thing, because or on my Instagram I posted it there, but like I said, I can't understand the thing. It's written in Italian, so I don't know what it says. But I know it's November 25th, 26th, around that. The city, I'm not too sure. He just sent me another video. I have to look at it. So, but it should be a fun show. So it's funny. I don't think I've ever been to Italy. I've never been to Rome and those places. I like places. That's why I love England, and I love I love places that have history. Like, you go to places where there's castles or Egypt and stuff like that. I just like seeing stuff like that, thinking that, I remember I went to this place in England, under the cellar was where the whole roof was like shaped like a dome, but the whole roof was made of tiles from homes that the Romans built like over 2,000 years ago. It just blows my mind to think that all this shit here was 2,000 years ago, that Romans were touching it, and you can still touch it today and stuff like that. So it's crazy when you look at stuff like that. When you even look at Rome, the aqueducts and all the stuff they built back then. And I always watch those shows on how were the pyramids made. Everyone's got their idea of how the pyramids were made. And when you look at some of the things they built, and even you get people today saying, with all the technology we have today and the laser cutting machines we have today, we couldn't even do that. And all they had back then was what? Hand hammers and chisels. I'm thinking, well, maybe the UFOs and the aliens helped them. Then you go down that rabbit hole of, did the aliens build this? So
right. But definitely, if you can ever make it to Rome, I've been there several times, the Colosseum and all this stuff. It's amazing. Go there, please.
I'd love to see it. Yeah,
it's amazing for sure. So how did you?
Go ahead.
Well, how did you come about your face tattoo? What did you wake up one day and say, I need to put a tattoo in my face so everybody gets aggravated and thinks I'm stupid? Or what was the reason?
I never realized how tattooing my face would be on my face. I didn't realize how it would affect so many other people out there in the world. I'm like, get a life, people. And people go, why'd you do it? I said, well, I got tattoos on my arms, my back, my legs, my ribs. I said, to me, it was just another body part. But it went back to, I think, being in Australia, and we have New Zealand. A lot of Maoris from New Zealand had tattoos on their face. And I'd occasionally see them and I'd be like, well, that looks pretty cool. Or then I watch those old movies even where gangsters would have scars on their faces. And I'm thinking, I might cut my face and put a scar. That would look pretty cool. And then I thinking, I might get a face tattoo. But then Tyson got a face tattoo. I said, oh, if I get one now, they're going to say I'm copying Tyson. So I waited a few years and I got one. And then I just kept adding to it. And I had it for like 14 years. And I'm like, because I see it all the time. These ones here you can cover up with clothes, but your face, you see it all the time. I got bored. So I removed it for 4 years. And my wife now and my mum are upset. They're like, oh, we love that tattoo. Because, when you see someone enough, they see me. They don't see the tattoo. It's just part of me. So I had that app on my phone where one of those silly apps where it puts stuff on your face. On some of the apps that had a tattoo on my face, I'm like, well, that looks pretty good. I might get another one. And people are like, what? So I went and got one, and my mum's like, oh, it looks great. My wife liked it. And then I go online, you fuckwit, you're getting another tattoo on your face. You must be a dickhead. It's like all these comments. I'm thinking, why does it bother you so much that I got a tattoo on my face? I'm like, I can't believe that my tattoo on my face has upset so many other men. Oh, you look so much better without it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh. And then they just keep saying, why did you do it on your face? I said, you just answered the question there, because it's my fucking face.
Exactly. I don't know why people get upset something you do on yourself,
I
which
know.
doesn't
Like,
affect nobody. I
I know.
don't get
That's what
it.
I said. I say to people, I could be a millionaire if all you people paid me, because you must not have a life. You must be living your life through me. So I think you should. It must be like, what's Lee doing today? Let's have a look. What crazy stuff. I'm thinking. I said, it's just a tattoo. I don't care where it is, because I've never. So even sometimes I see people sometimes. And I remember this one girl. She had all like Gothic style tattoos, but on her arm she just had this one big Tweety bird. And like, I'm covered in tattoos, but I'm thinking, that looks weird. Why would you get a fucking Tweety bird on your arm when you got everything else that's Gothic, you know? Right. And then I was talking to her, and she goes, the reason she got that was because I said, tattoos have different meanings. And the reason she got the Tweety bird was her parents passed away when she was young, and her grandmother raised her. And the favorite cartoon show was Sylvester and Tweety. And she just said that Tweety bird, for some reason, would always make her grandmother laugh. So when her grandmother passed away, to remember her grandmother, she had that Tweety bird tattoo. So here I am thinking, it's stupid, it looks crazy, but yet to her, it has meaning. So, I don't judge anyone on what they do, because who knows why they've got it or why they've done it. Everyone has a story of different things on life. So, I just, like I said, I judge people on their character and how they treat people, not on if they got tattoos, if they got blue hair or pink hair. I said, or they got piercings. To me, that doesn't mean anything. So, I've met lots of people who wear suits who have no tattoos, who are the biggest arseholes and would shit all over you. And I'll meet people who look like criminals, and they'll be the first one to give you a hand and help you out. So,
yeah, you're an Aquarius, right?
I'm Cancer.
Oh, you're Cancer.
I'm a fucking disease.
I got it. I was shooting in the dark, but okay, Cancer. Yeah, got it. Okay. But you have a free spirit, that's for sure, and that's really nice.
That's why I've always been in from a young age. I've always just done my own thing. I've never been one of those people. Everyone's wearing these shoes, you got to get them, or everyone's like, I just did my own thing. I'd wear some of the people. Why are you wearing that? I'm like, it's comfortable. I remember I was going to buy a brand name. No, it was just maybe one of those. I was in a sporting shop in England once. I went to buy something, and my friend's like, "Don't buy that, Lee. That's the brand the poor people buy." I'm like, who gives a fuck? I said, I'm not into. I'd go to Venice Beach and buy those sunglasses for $10, and people will be buying $2,000 sunglasses. I'm like, why? They're sunglasses. If you lose them, I remember, I think it might have been after one of the Arnold Classics, Kevin Leverone, he's like, look at that, Lee, look at that. He brought a Rolex overseas. He's like, 25K. I'm like, look at that, Kevin. Like Seiko, $200, does the same thing yours does for 25K. And like, that's a watch. It's like, I've never been into the name brand shit like that. To me, it says, even if I had the money, it just seems a waste. I'd rather use that money, because I've always said, if I have lots of money, I'm the type of person I'd be broke because I like helping other people. Even now I'll go out, mainly old people, because I just like, for some reason I like older people because they have good stories. They've lived a long life. I sort of, have that respect for older people. So if I'm in a restaurant, I see an old couple having dinner, I always just go over and tell the waitress and buy their dinner for them and stuff like that, because I don't know, I get more. If I just buy I bought this t-shirt not long ago. I was on eBay and I'm buying it, I'm like, oh, should I or shouldn't I? Like, even spending $10-20 on myself, I feel guilty, but I would spend a couple of $100 on somebody else, because I just like that feeling of like helping people out, and like I like seeing people happy and get something, that makes me happy. When I buy myself something, I feel that guilty. I'm like, I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have brought myself that shirt. It's just crazy that way. But I just like helping other people.
Yeah, you're a really good dude. And it's usually what I always say. Sorry, Jean-Pierre, I just want to finish and then sorry. But I always say, you can say people who really love animals, they're usually really good humans. There's always something.
And it's funny because people get mad at me because I'll be watching the news sometimes and it'll be like, someone got killed, this and that, or that happened. I'm like, who gives a fuck? It doesn't bother me. Stupid person, this and that. But if I see someone's abused an animal, I'm like, fucking kill him. Kill that prick. It's like, if I see animal abuse, I get so angry. I get so pissed off. I just can't stand why people would do that to animals, especially when they're so innocent. I remember these videos once in England. These kids had like one of those British bulldogs and they're kicking it down the stairs. They're jumping on it. And this poor dog, because like, I've seen people treat dogs like shit, and they'll still get up wagging their tail trying to show you love when they're abusing it. I'm thinking, oh, these people, I just love to get them. But the good thing was the people in that town in England, I forget which it was, the police had to escort them out because a lot of the locals in the town did want to kill them. So to me, it's like if you harm an animal and do that and you video and all that, to me, it's like you should just get jail time like anybody else for doing it to a person. So
yeah.
If you're that callous to do that to an innocent animal, God knows what you do.
I know what you mean. That's how I kind of when I think of, yeah. Because we used to feed the feral cats down the street, and this one guy was sitting there after we fed him, and he took his cigarette every night and just was putting the cigarette into the cat food. That's kind of like as fucking evil as it gets. Now think about if a guy like that, for whatever some reason, gets to lead a country or something. That's why we have stuff like Saddam Hussein, or I don't know what. Can you imagine? You cannot let those animals eat. What kind of fucking rotten fucking to the core human being you have to be? That's worse than shooting somebody in my view. It's just hard to believe.
I remember once I was in a park and we have like those white cockatoos here, those big white birds with the yellow crest on their head. And if you start feeding them, they come from here. I remember I was feeding them in a park somewhere. This guy comes through. Oh, these fucking birds, they're fucking. I'm thinking, mate, you've got a big park here and you're worried about me feeding all these birds. Oh, these birds make a mess and do this. I'm like, then go to the other side of the fucking park or whatever. I'm thinking, how miserable are you that you're going to complain about birds in the wild? I'm thinking, some people, I think, just, I don't know. But then again, like I said, maybe he's had a shit life. Who knows? You can't judge people sometimes. But sometimes I just look at people and go, we just need to relax, chill out a bit. It's like, everyone's on their phones 24/7. If I'm out walking, I take my phone just so maybe I can take a picture of the sunrise and that. But people are out there walking, texting. I'm like, why don't you just get off your phone? My wife gets mad because I have my phone on silent all the time. I have no notifications turned on because I tell people I control my phone. It doesn't control me. I've got friends that every time a notification, they look at their phone. It's like they're run by their phone. It's like you need to take a step back and just enjoy life. Go for a walk. Like I hate when you see these concerts now. Everyone's filming on their phones and doing something. And why can't you just go watch it and remember it here? Photograph it in your mind. Just enjoy the show. Stop watching it through your phone. It's like crazy.
When I walk my dogs, I never take the phone. When I go to the gym, I never take the phone.
Yeah. I get in trouble about that. I always tell people, I always say, listen, if you're look, I take my phone to the gym when I'm doing cardio to watch YouTube and stuff. But I said, if you really want to get into bodybuilding and you want to be a pro, I said, you can't take your phone to the gym. Oh, but I take it for music. I said, there's music in the gym. You shouldn't need music to get motivated. You should be motivated enough to go to the gym to want to train. I said, and I see it all the time. People, okay, you take it for music. You go to pick another song. Wait a minute. I got a couple of messages. I'll have a look. So like I said, if you're focused on your training and now you read a message, say it's a bad message, now your whole mindset's gone out the window. So I said, unless you're a doctor who's on call 24/7, if you can't go an hour to 2 hours without your phone in the gym, you got issues. It's like, and like I said, people that have actually done it, they said, Lee, oh, thank you. I can't believe how much better I trained. My focus was better. It is because you're focused on your phone. I've seen people, I'm only on it for a minute and I'm watching them. Like I said, when you get on your phone sometimes, if you're watching YouTube, it feels like a minute, but you're like, fuck, that's been 20 minutes. Like time just goes. So I said, if you're serious about being a bodybuilder, leave your phone at home. You don't need to film every exercise you do. You don't need to, if you want to film your training, do it at the end. Train hard, then go back and take a couple of photos of the exercises. But how many gyms you go in now? There's fucking tripods and there's an influencer over there and there's somebody over there. I'm like, oh, fucking hell. It's just like, back in, I said, if I had done that in the 80s when I was training, the guys in the gym would have dragged me outside, punched me in the head and said, now go back inside and fucking train. You wouldn't have got away with it back then.
That's for sure.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you are exactly. I mean, I don't even know you that well. I know we competed, but we did our own thing. But if you think about it, other than the few really big guys who won Olympia titles, and there's nobody really who left a mark like you. I mean, everybody knows who you are, and I don't watch a lot of podcasts and stuff, but occasionally when I see your face somewhere there, I listen for a few minutes, you know. I mean, congratulations. I mean, think about 40 years ago you started and you're still kind of like, people know who you are. I mean, that's great.
But that's the thing I think it upsets a lot of people, because I always laugh as people go, oh, what's Lee doing on a podcast? He's so irrelevant. I'm like, well, occasionally I look at the views when I'm on podcasts and I still get the most views. So I figure whether I'm talking shit or being serious, people like to listen, because I must be like one of those things. Oh, who knows what Lee's going to say? Let's just watch what he says. So it's like, I don't even know, because
people love you for sure.
I never really watched the podcast that I do, but one time I was watching me and Dave on something and I was laughing, and my wife's like, why are you laughing at yourself? I said, well, you have to understand, when I do podcasts, I just say whatever. I don't really think about it. So when I watch it, it's like it's the first time I'm hearing what I said. And I sit there sometimes and go, oh, fuck, did I say that? It's like, I never know what I'm going to say half the time.
But definitely, I enjoy this. This is really awesome for me. Also, I'm really thankful that you said yes.
Yeah,
thank you. Podcast. Thank you so much. And it was amazing. For me, it was amazing.
I don't know. Are you living in California, Jean?
I'm in California, Palm Springs, for 25 years.
Okay, Palm Springs. That's a nice area, Palm Springs, Palm Desert.
Oh yeah. It's nice here. So I'll
have to let you know when I'm there, because I said I'm going to come out maybe beginning of March. I'm going to go out to California for a week and maybe Vegas for a week, and that because Jay wants me to do his podcast. But just going to do the old, go back to like in the 90s, just going to hang out at Venice, go to the firehouse, go to the gym. Just, that's a sad thing too, because it was good when I went back there earlier. Was it this year or last year? Last year. Because, gold has changed. But to me, even though it's changed, when you go in there, all the memories come back, the atmosphere. It just feels like it was back then. And then it's sad too, because I sometimes watch some of my old training videos and I'm like, oh, this is depressing. And people are like, oh, no, it's motivating. I'm like, well, there's 5 of my mates on this video who are now dead. So it's like, sometimes it's good, but yet it's sad at the same time, because, I've lost people in the sport, and even like Joe Gold and stuff like that when they passed away. So as much as it brings me joy, there's also the sad side too, because sometimes I sit here now and I think, oh, I'm 51. And it just seems like from 20 to 51, I'm like, where did the time go? Now, when I was younger, your parents would say, when you get older, time goes quicker. You're like, yeah, Mum, sure it does. And now I'm older, I'm thinking, fuck, it's true. It does go quick, doesn't it? And now I'm thinking, how much longer do I have? I always tell my wife, I'm living to 100, so I get a letter from the king. So I'm going to live to 100 just to annoy people. So when I'm 80 years old and I go online, they're going to go, that fucker's still here?
But yeah, I remember World Gym in the mid 90s until late 90s. I went on vacation. I used to live in Germany at the time. Mm-hmm. And either Joe Gold or his nephew were in the gym. And I never paid. They're always like, how long are you going to train? I'm going to be here 2 weeks. Come in, train. Like, I never paid $1 single in all these years at World Gym. They were so friendly, so nice. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was a good crowd. Like I said, you get there early in the morning, and Eddie Giuliani would be there. Eddie was the one that, in Pumping Iron jumped in Arnold's arms and that. He was always there. Zabo was there. Arnold would come in, Lou Ferrigno. It's just that good crowd, the good atmosphere, being on the outdoor deck early in the morning with that salt sea air. It's just, you can't sort of describe that era. Bodybuilding's still great now, but I just don't think you can beat that time when you'd go into Golds sometime and you'd see Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier. You'd see like 10 of the top pros in the gym at the same time. They were just incredible days like that. Now, people can train anywhere and be everywhere. But, back then, I just don't think you're going to see those times. It was, at the moment, it's not bad. I'm thinking Vegas, because you got Jay Cutler and Flex Lewis and Milos and Regan. There's a lot of guys in Vegas right now. So that's almost like a new mecca. So I think it's starting to create sort of an atmosphere again with like the Dragon's Lair gym and that, which is good. So it gives people a location. And I think it's just good, because so many people now, I said, it's back. You got to get that comradeship back where people are friends and hang out and stuff like that. People always say bodybuilding is an individual sport, but it's not really. It takes everyone to make it work and everyone to get along and stuff like that. So I'm glad to see that they're actually getting like a bodybuilding community again back in Vegas. So it's pretty good.
It's true. Yep. That's what it looks like. All right. Jean-Pierre?
I spent some time at the Dragon. Yeah, I spent some time at the Dragon Layer before the Olympia. And it's the first time in years I felt that atmosphere again. You know, it was pretty great.
It's good, isn't it? It almost makes you feel like you want to get back into it. Oh, I can do it again. And then I go lift up a heavy weight and I'm like, oh no, I fucking can't.
Yeah.
Now I just get a really light weight now. I'll be doing curls with like a 30-pound bar, and someone goes walking past me as they get close. I go 201, 202, and they go, "Oh, that's a lot of reps." I go, "Yeah, I'm just doing high reps today." So I just pull a number out of the air. I'll be on the leg press. When they come past, they go 421. They're like, "Have you done 400 reps?" I'm like, "Yeah."
That is the worst when you get older. You get so freaking weak. You're so freaking weak.
Well, I did a post the other day. People thought I was going to kill myself. I just said, "Oh, I feel like killing myself." I was joking around because I happened to be doing leg press at the gym. And I might go as heavy as 7 plates a side now, but I just do 50 reps or so. But as I got the 7 plates on the leg press, they had one of my training tapes on the TV on YouTube. And I was doing leg press on the TV. I was that leg press at Gold's Gym. It was fucking loaded to the hilt, loaded up top. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the machine now, and I'm about 21 there. I'm 51 now. People are like, "Lee, this is motivation." I said, "This is fucking depressing to me." I'm looking at
Yep.
I'm looking at what I used to do and how I used to look. I look in the mirror and I'm like, "Oh, fuck it, I'm going home." I'm just going to do treadmill from now on.
I hear you.
Hey, I did some leg press with my wife the other day. We never really trained together, maybe twice a year. I know she's really into the training still. So I did the 2 plates, warming up 20. She did 2 plates, 20. She went 3 plates, 20. I did 3 plates, 20. And then with 4 plates, I usually stop, you know. So she did 4 plates, 15. I did 4 plates. I go for the shit. No, I got 5 plates here. I have 5 plates on in freaking 15 years, you know. I say I can't have less weight on than my wife, you know. That there's even now. So I did go to 5 plates and tied with 10 reps, you know. So that's about where I'm at now. So yeah.
What happened? What did you do, Lee? What did you do, Lee? Huh?
I don't know. It's all just disappeared. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we disappeared.
To think back in the early 70s, they could talk to someone on the fucking moon. I can't even get a signal across here. That's if they went to the moon, of course. Who knows? That's a whole other podcast, the moon landing.
Right.
You know when I was convinced that we did, was one of the guys who went to the moon, not Armstrong.
Buzz?
The other guy, Ted Aldrin. What's his name? Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had a speech about the moon and stuff, and some guy came up to him, some freak, and he's like, "Well, you know, there's no real proof that you guys ever made it." And Buzz just punched him in the face. I knew that second. Yeah, he was up there. Definitely was up there.
I remember that year. He punched him right in the face when he said that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's cool. All right, Lee, I think we're at the end.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And I hope we can repeat that. We can repeat that in the future. That was very enjoyable. And I'm pretty sure there are many more sex stories you can tell us.
Well, I'm sure there is. We'll have to save that for a part 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I started to talk to Ben about it, that was a few times on his German podcast. So I started talking to him about, let's do something in English. And we talked about guests. And from the first moment on, he's like, "Can you get Lee? Can you get Lee?"
Yes, because you're so interesting. You're so
amazing. Now that we've talked, when you put this up, who's going to be the first person to go, "Why does he have a stupid fucking tattoo on his face for? Steroids must make you crazy." Oh, shut up.
No,
I tell people, just be yourself. And my wife would sometimes say that. She goes, "You're so lucky." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "But she has to go. She works in a job she's a manager at a tobacco shop, and that she goes, I have to act a certain way with customers. You can just do whatever." I said, "Well, I think that's how people should be. People should be honest. People should be able to be themselves, as long as you're not hurting anyone or you're not upsetting someone or insulting them. Just be yourself." Because I think people today they try and put on this fake thing. Like they might have different groups. When they're with this group of people, they've got to act a certain way so they like them. This group's got to act a certain way. I'm like, look, just be yourself. If people don't like you for who you are, they're not worth hanging around. Just be who you are. That way there's a lot less stress. You don't have to worry about, I got to act a certain way, talk a certain way. Just be who you are. So I was like, just who cares what other people think? That's one thing I've never done is care what people think about me. I'm like, you want to think that? Go right ahead. It's like, I'll make up stories about myself just to give you something to talk about if you want. So, just be yourself. Who cares what other people think of you? Because you could be the greatest person in the world. You're always going to have haters. So no matter what you do, you're going to have people like you, love you, or hate you. So you might as well just be yourself and have them hate you for being yourself at least. So.
Exactly. That's what I did my whole life. That's how it is. That's how we should do.
Exactly.
All right, Lee.
Okay, thank you so much, Lee.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. I'll let you know when I'm over in California or try hook up or something.
Yep. Very good. And give me that Italy go.
We won't go train. We'll just go eat. Fuck training.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So next time you make a podcast when you sit on a kangaroo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to see you sitting on a kangaroo.
Wrestling a crocodile or something,
Exactly. Right. Crocodile Dundee.
Come on, like, crikey, look at that crocodile. Isn't it massive? Talk real Australian like the crocodile hunter. Crikey, mate, you see that crocodile? She's a big one, huh?
All right, let's do that. Okay, have a nice day over there. You have a day.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Yes, it's 12:30 on Saturday afternoon.
All right. We have Friday evening over here.
See? I'm coming from the future. So all you people who are worried, Saturday is coming. So Saturday, the world hasn't ended.
Bye, Lee.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yep.